Department of Horticulture.
The young entrepreneurs are the hope, the forebearers of tomorrow who carry the mantle. You are up for a brilliant journey through this virtual conference. We, together with you, look forward for this conference with encouraging spirits. I request you all to raise us for invocation.
அதிர்ச்சிறந்த திராவிடர்கள் திருநாடும் தரித்தனதும் திலகமுந்தே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மலர்கள் இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரியமை திறமியன்று செயமறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
I would now request Dr. K. Haripriya, Professor and Head, Department of Horticulture, to deliver a welcome address. Please, ma'am.
Good morning to all. I am privileged to welcome our Dean Faculty of Agriculture, an able administrator, approachable, accommodative, and available at all times. He is crystal clear in delivering either of these three words. Yes, no, all right, proceed. So this clearly focuses his clarity of thoughts in service as an engine pulling down the compartments to the right destination without any confusion. Thank you, sir. We are welcoming you to this seminar. I extend my warm welcome to the Director IPLC for this event. And he is as we all know that the water stored in reservoir for its better usage should be channelized properly for good. And likewise, through this IQUAD program, the IPLC people are channelizing the share of knowledge from the allied people to the student community with their service. It is a great job, sir. And we all know that pioneering industrialists value their timings and are bound to speak less but are more productive. And I acknowledge the organizers of this seminar so that they have got hold of the elite personals and to share their valuable, rich experience with the student community. Dr. Jitendra Singh, Dr. Subbu Kumarapan, and Sri G. Prakash, and they have given their consent to share their valuable timing, and I assure on behalf of the Department of Horticulture that the time you are sparing will not go to a waste because the future lies in the technology and industry-based horticulture. And dear student friends, actually India should have in mind that India should be second to none in horticulture sector. And also think of that anything got from Mother Earth should be submitted back to her. And therefore, modernity should spurt up from antiquity. This will ensure the growth and the consistent, sustained performance in horticulture crops. And as such, startups of this day is a booming sector, and Indian agriculture with 60% of the farming community actually gives an enormous scope for the startups. And as such, Maharashtra is the first state engaging with the startups, more than 300 numbers. And coming to South Indian states, Karnataka is the first, Next comes the Andhra Pradesh, and we like in the third position. So, student friends, try to catch up the rich experience of these star speakers of the day and be interactive and get benefited out of this. With this brief introduction, I welcome you all for this seminar. Thank you.
It's time to honor our guest on the dais. We now request Dr. R. Sendanathan, Organizing Secretary, Department of Horticulture, to honor our respectable team.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
லைட் போடு தம்பி, லைட் போடு. ரியாலிட்டி லைட் பார்த்தா
Now I request Dr. B. Madhumari, Organizing Secretary, Department of Horticulture, to honor our President Head, Dr.
லைட்டை
K.
மறைச்சிடு,
Haripriya.
லைட் எடுக்க, லைட்டை மறைச்சிடு. நீ மறைக்கிற கேமரா முன்னாடி இருக்க.
Now let us have the privilege of listening to the inaugural address by our Honorable Dean Dr. M. Ganapati, Faculty of Agriculture. Please, sir.
Dr. K. Haripriya, Professor in the Department of Horticulture, Dr. Arivide Nambi, Dr. R. Sendanathan, Dr. Kandasamy, Dr. Uma Maheshwari, Dr. Bharat Kumar, Dr. Madana Kumari, Dr. Raj Kumar, the guest speakers, Dr. Sql Kumar. I feel proud. I feel proud and privileged because I've just been a part. Just to ignite things. There's so much talent in our faculty. Now, most of them are asking what is startup. Software said prayer, invocation, God's good. But we couldn't get the prayer song down. Someone from the audience said, we'll sing it. Everyone joined the chorus. There was a pause in the rhythm in the middle, and again it changed its peak. The note 5 was reached. So that is how. So now we started the inaugural way of conducting workshops and other things. The next year, we should come up with companies that come to the faculty to have units established here, and then this is a startup. I had a basic experience in startups. Now my family runs a special school, so we had some basic requirements for our autistic child. So I sent the teacher to IIT whether we could get some software. You know what is it? Let me not explain that. But then attention could be drawn to the mother's words and the child's instruction and the teacher's instruction. It was a very slow process. It took about 4 to 5 years. Now, good deliberation. Thank you very much.
May I request Dr. R. Sendanathan, Organizing Secretary, Department of Horticulture, to brief us about the conference. Please, sir.
Good morning to all. To connect the institute and industry and to have an interaction interface, the IPAC-21 was planned an initiative of IPAC in Annamalai University. The United Nations has projected that over two-thirds of the world population will be living in cities by 2050. With the desire to reach the goals of higher economic growth, many countries are facing rapid urbanization, leading to high-density living and decreasing green spaces, threatening their living conditions. In recent past, it has emerged as one of the best options for farmers and entrepreneurs in rural and urban areas for the want of increasing demand for horticultural products and services. With this, we are organizing this international virtual conference on startup in horticulture industry was proposed to enlighten about current trends and future thrust areas of horticulture industry. Recently, the United Nations has declared as 2021 as the International Year of Fruits and Vegetables, recognize the importance of horticulture in the global scenario. So, new innovation and technologies are developed in the horticulture industry for the benefits of farming communities and consumers. To highlight the startups in the horticulture industry, this conference gives due importance to all the undergraduate, postgraduate students, research scholars of Annamalai University and other institutions of other countries. We hope this conference will ensure dissemination of new technology beneficial for the horticulture industry oriented business people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now it's time to enter into the technical session. Moving towards our first technical session, I request Dr. R. Kandasamy, Co-Organizing Secretary of Horticulture, to introduce our very first speaker of the day. Please, sir.
Most respected the Dean, Faculty of Horticulture, respected Professor Ned, Department of Horticulture, key members, students, friends, teaching and non-teaching. On to all of you. I feel immense pleasure to introduce our first speaker of this international virtual conference, Dr. Sql. I am proud to say he is one of our alumni of our faculty. He completed his UG program during the year 1993 to 97 from our faculty. He earned the PhD degree from Michigan State University, USA. Now he is working as an associate professor, Agricultural Technical Institute, the Ohio State University, USA. He has published more than 16 articles in all international reputed journals and also published more than 60 papers in various conferences. He has published technical report and we have published 3 book chapters. On behalf of the RPTC committee members and myself, I invite the speaker of the first session speaker, Dr. Sql, to deliver this lecture about value creation in horticulture in India and abroad. Thank you.
Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. So, am I good to go now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You can proceed.
Yeah, I'm just.
அந்த டேபிள் அது அந்த மேல இருக்கு அதான் அது டேபிள் சேர்
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't mind, can you please wait up for a second?
Yeah, you are asking me to wait. Yeah, I can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just a few
Okay.
seconds.
Sure,
Yeah, okay,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
You are talking to me, right, Sajeev? Hello? Okay, I think I am ready to go. I think that's my understanding. Am I right? Can somebody confirm that?
Yes, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So welcome everybody. Good morning. So I hope you are all enjoying a real nice morning on Wednesday over there. My name is Subbu Kumarappan, and I was a student in Annamalai University in the Faculty of Agriculture in 1993-97. I have some very fond memories. And thank you very much to Dr. Rajkumar and everybody else that invited me over for this presentation. And I just want to mention that the audience, they can download this presentation on this website link that I have given here. It is tinyurl.com/rt-start-ups, okay? Now, the reason I gave you this PowerPoint presentation ready to go is there are lots of links that I have put together here, and I wanted everybody to have a copy of those links, and you can probably click on your mobile devices. That's one of the primary reasons I have created this particular link, okay? It's the same PowerPoint slides that I am talking about here. So let us go ahead, get started. So when Dr. Rajkumar invited me to talk about horticulture startups, I was wondering, okay, I have seen a lot of startups in the US as well as in India, especially I have read about them, even though I haven't worked in them directly. And I was wondering, okay, how is it different in India compared to US? That really kind of got me excited to take up this opportunity. And it is also a wonderful opportunity because I am talking in Annamalai University, especially in my college, in those rooms where you are sitting in right now. I was a student just a few decades ago, and it has been decades now. So today we will kind of look at different types of examples of horticulture and agriculture startups in India and how they may be different from that of those in the USA, okay? And finally, I will wrap up because whenever you go to your presentation, you need to have some take-home messages. And those take-home messages okay, do you hear me? I think I got muted all of a sudden. Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So as I was telling you, it is always nice for you to know, okay, I have an idea. Now I want to convert that into a startup. I want to convert this into a business which has potential to reach thousands or millions of people, in whatever crop that you are interested in. So I will be giving you a few sample business planning tools, and that is what I call Canvas over here, along with some other resources for self-education, okay? Having said that, just a little bit of a background in case if you are interested. I studied BSc Agriculture in Anna University in 93-97. After that, I went to the US. I came to the US. Right now I am here. And I did my master's and PhD here. And I have been working in the Ohio State University since 2010. And some of you may be interested in knowing, hey, where is this Ohio State University? And that's obviously in the state of Ohio that you can see here, which is this red color highlighted state, which is very close to the Great Lakes region. And in Ohio, we have multiple campuses, and Columbus is the main campus. And I'm right now talking from closer to ATI OARDC campus. Okay, so in case if anybody is interested in graduate school and want to apply for any kind of research or other things in Ohio State University, you are very welcome to reach out to me. That is just a plug for Ohio State University, okay? So when I was contacted for this particular presentation, I said, okay, let me go ahead and see what are the different types of startups, especially in the area of agriculture and horticulture. So when I was looking at that, I realized that who are investing in these companies, if we go ahead and take a look at who are investing in those companies, we will get a good idea. So that is where I came across this, a few links, and I have given those links for you in the PowerPoint presentation that you can download. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and share the screen for you, okay? So there is this company called Omnivore, and they are venture capitalists, and they invest in various types of businesses. Okay, now if you look at what type of businesses do they invest in, okay, these are all agriculture products that you can see here. One of the companies that they have invested in, actually the one at the very top that you can see here, that's AgNext, and they are focusing on quality. Okay, quality is a real big theme that I am seeing everywhere. Now, especially in a country like India, you know, where people may be overusing fertilizers, or they may be overusing chemicals, and we are feeding them to children, we have to be really worry about what type of inputs are going inside. So that is very important. So quality is extremely important in the context of India. Okay, so obviously they are focusing on it. And not only that, traceability. Traceability means we start somewhere, and you know, the farmer produces somewhere in a small village, and it kind of goes through different regions, and ultimately it reaches the customer. And the customer would like to know where the product was produced, and that is what we call traceability. And if the customer just opens their cell phone and they click on, okay, this is the product, they just scan a code, immediately it tells which particular place it came from, what type of inputs were used, who was the farmer. If we can trace it to that level, then we can be very confident that the customers would appreciate and start buying from you. So AgNext is one company that is based in Chandigarh, but that's not the only company. Many of you would be familiar with the word blockchain, or at least Bitcoins. Bitcoins are based on the blockchain technology. Blockchain is essentially a way how you can keep track of how things are produced and how you are maintaining the ledgers, okay, the accounts across multiple systems. The point here is blockchain is used for e-marketplace. That is, people can place orders on an app and immediately it will be delivered, something like that. That is what this Agri 10X is doing in Pune. And similarly, you can see there are some other special things for dairy farmers, whereas in the context of horticulture, one of the primary things that you may be interested in would be the post-harvest services. What do I mean by that? I'm sure you all know what post-harvest is. In the context of India, okay, in a country like India where the infrastructure may not be great, the 30 to 40% of the fruits and vegetables are being lost when they are not properly harvested, when they are not properly processed before it is taken to the customers. And that is what this particular this company is trying to do when it comes to moving the product, say from from the farmers to the customers, okay? And this is based in Delhi. And not only that place, and if you look at where all these things are happening, you can see a lot of Bengaluru, Chennai, and places like that. So these are all very high-tech things that, and we have to keep track of, where these things are happening, what are they doing, and there are specific supply chains for silk production that you can see here, and that is being digitized. That is, it is all being brought into electronic media and means like that. And there is also another type of emphasis on weather forecasting. This is a real big deal in the US right now. So the point is, there are a bunch of these companies, and these are just a few that this company has invested in. Let's go to another company called Menterra. This is also a venture capitalist firm, and they invest in various companies. And if you go and look at some of their applications or some of their investments, you are welcome to click on them. It will take you to, what are the reasons they invest in a particular company and what are their objectives. Like that, they are able to, inform you very well. So I encourage the audience today to go and click on these reports, and especially this particular company has an amazing Agri investment report. So I'm just going to go and click on this, and it will open a presentation here. Hopefully it opened. Okay, it's a PDF file. I encourage everybody to download reports like this and read through them, because that is the only way you will understand what is happening in horticulture industry, or where are the opportunities that you can go and find a career, or you can start your own business that you can take it to the next level. Okay, and remember that wherever you go, there are always some people that are involved. So pay attention to who those people are. Because the team that you put together can make a big difference when it comes to the successes that you can see. Okay, so that's important. So when you go through this report, they are saying, okay, this particular venture firm, they are investing in the Agri value chain, as you can see here. Even though it's Agri, it's very similar to horticulture as well. And their focuses are on the farmers, the producer, and also the customers, the consumer. Now, when it comes to farmers, they focus on things such as how they can provide very good prices for the farmers, that we will be able to provide them with very good price for their product, and that too right away. It's not like you don't have to wait 30 days or 60 days. You are not being told that the money will be deposited in your bank account or anything like that. So those things are very important for from a farmer's perspective. Similarly, farm productivity, that is, for the given set of inputs, how much amount of output can you produce? That is productivity. How can you increase it? What are the things that you need? You need good quality inputs. You need good advice, and you need to know when to apply or when not to apply. And some of you may be familiar with the term precision agriculture. That is, if you have 5 acres of land, you don't have to apply fertilizers on all the 5 acres. You just need to apply maybe in a couple of acres where the soils are of poor quality. In other places, maybe you can change the fertilizer composition so that you can increase the farm productivity and also profitability. So there are various things that you can do. So I encourage you to go and read up on that. And as you can see here, it's about 63 pages. So you can take a look at that. Farmers want to cover their risk. That is, there is weather risk, there is price risk, there is a market risk, there is this loss because it is not being properly managed or processed, or post-harvest processing is not right. On access to capital, the farmers do need money. Now, many of the apps that I'm going to share with you right now, as you will see here, many of them are trying to provide all these things within one app. So that is a very interesting thing, very important thing that I would like you to consider that. Okay, so having said that, let's quickly talk about customers and then move on to the PowerPoint presentation. When it comes to the customer, they want to pay the right price and they want nutritious food. That's essentially what we mean by quality. Nutritious food without, say, harmful chemicals, because that is a very valid issue for many of the customers. And they want consistent supply. In case if you are able to sell to a big hotel chain, they would want, big quantities on a very consistent basis. They want you to deliver every 3 days or every week or every month. And they want that to be they don't want it to stop in the middle. So that's very important. And also convenience, that it is delivered to their doorstep, or it is delivered in a convenient form where it can be readily used, that they don't have to wash and clean before they use. So there are various things that are to be taken care of, and how you can make all these things happen. These are all the important things that you have to keep in mind when it comes to, say, a horticultural startup. And that is what this company Menterra is investing in right now. Okay, so that is something for you to think about. Having said that, any questions? I know that you may not be able to chat or talk on the Zoom right now, but I am watching the WhatsApp here. So if you have any questions, please share them with the organizers, Dr. Rajkumar, especially because that is the WhatsApp that I am dealing with right now. Okay, so if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Okay, having said that, here are some of the themes. We already talked about this integration of supply chain. That is, how can you bring the advisory services for the farmers? Okay, whether you produce vegetables or fruits, or you are maintaining, big orchards, what type of advisory services they need, and then products, which is essentially the inputs that you need, and then the money to make that happen. And it is also about how you can shorten the time in storage and how you can deliver fresh vegetables. So from the perspective of both the producer and consumer, you can see that these are all the things that they are trying to do by integrating the supply chain, where it is being brought into a small thing. Okay, having said that, I'm just going to click on one of these examples. I have given a lot of these examples, and I have linked them on this PowerPoint presentation. That is why I asked you to download it. Let me go ahead and click on FarmPal. Okay, so let's click on that, and it will open something. It opens the website that you can see here. And go through these websites, because when you go through the website of a startup, you will really understand what they are trying to do and how it makes a difference. And you can see what is their farm business model, what are their values, who are their customers, and what are they ultimately trying to do. Okay, so having said that, here is a short video clip. I'm going to play that. I believe it starts in Marathi and then it moves on to English. So let's go ahead and watch a little bit, and then we will come and talk about, why these kind of things are important. So here is the FarmPal business model. I'm clicking on this link.
आपण जवळजवळ 5 एकर क्षेत्रामध्ये फ्लावरची लागवड करतोय. पहिला मंचर येथे आपण माल नेत होतो विक्री करण्यासाठी. परंतु काय झालं, विक्री करत असताना मंचरला बाजारभाव हा आम्हाला शेतकऱ्याला कळत नव्हता पूर्णतः. त्याच्यानंतर आता साधारणतः 1.5 ते 2 वर्ष झाले इथं फार्मपाल ही कंपनीची स्थापना झाली मंचर या ठिकाणी. आपण जर आता माल टाकला त्यांना गड्ड्यानुसार चांगली क्वालिटी, तर बाजार समितीपेक्षा आपल्याला 2-4 रुपये त्यांच्याकडून जास्त बाजारभाव भेटतो. आणि ते भेटून सुद्धा आहे ना, त्यांची पैसे आहेत ना आपल्या अकाउंटवर लगेच जमा होतात 2 ते 3 दिवसानंतर. त्याच्यामुळे ना काही टेन्शन नाही.
Indian agriculture industry is going through a very tough time, and especially into the post-harvesting supply chain. Farmers are getting only 30 to 40 rupees for every 100 rupees spent by the consumer. Middlemen, it also gets wasted because of inefficient handling. So consumer is not getting the fresh produce, and also the quality is not good and it's not hygienic. When you have such a massive and complex problem to solve in Indian agriculture industry, I think the best solution is using technology very effectively. So basically supply and demand both are coming on the mobile app, and then in between we have got the very sophisticated ERP technology which is helping us to match that supply and demand and do the complete end-to-end transaction. To reduce that wastage from 20 to 30% to below 5%, where we are using the artificial intelligence and machine learning platform which helps us to predict demand for all the 55 to 60 articles we are delivering to our customer 1 week before at 95% accuracy. Basically, we want to bring technology to the farmers. They can see very clear that what price offered by us and the price offered by the market. and they come to our collection center and supply it to us.
And we ensure that the customers are getting the supply that they need or the quality that they need, which is also ensured at different levels, the collection center, fulfillment center, and then at the distribution center before they are delivered to our customers. These goods, once they arrive at the distribution center, go through the final rounds of packaging, sorting, cleaning before they are distributed to the customers. FarmPul's biggest differentiator, if I may say so, today with the rest of the competition or in this market has been our quality. Our retention rates, our return rates, which we measure very closely, are very good. FarmPul's farm to store time window today is about 15 hours. That is, the customers, when they receive their produce, this has been harvested at the farmer's side in a 15 hours prior. We are continuously working towards bringing this cycle down to a 12-hour window.
जो हमारा मार्केट का जो डेली भागना रहता है, उससे हमको राहत है। रात को ऑर्डर करते हैं, 10 बजे, सुबह 6 बजे माल आता है। उनकी सर्विस भी बहुत अच्छी है, क्वालिटी भी बहुत अच्छी है। हरमपाल का ऐप है, उसमें हम रात को लोड करते हैं, क्या क्या चाहिए, कितना कितना चाहिए, उनको मैसेज आता है, रात को सुबह 6 बजे हमको माल मिल जाता है।
FarmPul was started with 3 basic values, and that we call it the culture: empowering farmers, transparency, and accountability. And I'm trying to percolate that culture, that values within every employee of the FarmPul and every partner who is working with us, whether it's farmers, whether it's our customer or our logistic partners.
Okay, so I hope the volume came through properly for you. So that is a motivating example of how they are able to provide slightly higher prices to the farmers, but giving them the assurance that they will be given higher prices for their products, and also how ultimately the good quality produce reaches the customers. And one important thing that they mentioned there was how we can make sure that the product is not being wasted. Okay, so these are all the important things that they are talking about. And FarmPul is just one example. Okay, there are tons of other examples that you can talk about. And as you can see here, some of their missions are directly from the farmers of high quality produce that is delivered to the customers on a reliable basis, which can be ordered online, which is a real big deal right now, with better packaging. You know, these are the things that they are talking about. And as the video also said, you know, giving the power back to the farmers. This is very, very important. And that is what, you know, FarmPul is trying to do. And many other companies, FarmPul is just one example, as I said. And there is also, you know, we have to have transparency, because the farmers may be thinking, oh, how much money FarmPul is making, you know, because oftentimes one of the biggest issues in Indian agriculture sector is that the middlemen can take up a lot of the profits. The farmers may not get you know, a better price, or they may not be compensated well for their input. So these things are very important. And accountability, that is, you know, who is responsible for providing the good quality produce? How can we make sure that we are able to make sure that the chemical content in the produce is only what it is said, you know? So these are all the important things that you have to think about and talk about. So these are all the important things I would like to mention here as part of this particular thing, okay? But then integration of the supply chain is not the only thing. There is another thing. Even if you don't integrate all the way from the farmer, from the producer to the consumer, you can be simply producing it indoors. This is what we called controlled environment agriculture, CEA. Actually, one of my colleagues will be talking about hydroponics and aquaponics, I believe next week. And, you know, there are lots of companies that are in this space as well. And one of the examples is this Clover.ag. And I believe they are producing strawberries, and also they also provide, you know, different types of promises, such as fresh. It is delivered within 16 to 20 hours of harvest. That is, in less than a day, it will reach the customers. Clean, zero contamination produce. That means people can rely on that, and they can be assured that it is a healthy produce. And community, it is also talking about farmers and consumers. And, you know, they also talk about, you know, the problem being that it being a perishable product, things are kind of getting lost when it moves from the producer to the consumer. and how they are going to address it. And as I mentioned in the beginning, in one of the slides, every business has a team. So if you are interested in starting your own startup, try to put together that team. The people that you put together, okay, they need to have very different types of expertise. They need to know horticulture, and they need to know technology. They need to know how marketing, they need to know how to reach out to customers in various ways. And there are lots and lots of people that will get involved in your thing. So you need to think of your team, and that will make a big difference. And one prominent way to connect with them is through LinkedIn. As you can see here, each and every one of these people, Arvind, Gururaj, Santosh, Avinash, all of them are on LinkedIn. So in case if you don't have LinkedIn, go ahead and connect with them. And if you are not on LinkedIn yet, maybe this is high time that you start creating your own LinkedIn. And I am also on LinkedIn, and you are very welcome to connect with me there. Okay. So having said that, that is one type of startup that I see in the horticulture industry. The other thing is aggregation of farm produce. That is, farmers are all really small, 1 or 2 acre producers, but then the customer wants, okay, the customer may be like Reliance Retail, okay, or some other type of retail outlet. They need big bulk quantities. So what can you do to collect the produce from multiple farms and pack it and ship it to the customer in a very quick manner? And there are lots and lots of these businesses, these startups, Mera Kisan, ProFarm, Ninja Cart, Krishi Hub, all of them are working on that. Okay, and not only that, and this is where I found something very interesting. When it comes to aggregation, now Mera Kisan and ProFarm, when you click on them, they deal with all different types of products. Okay, MeraKisanDaily.com, as you can see here, they are into selling all different products such as groceries, oil, ghee, and superfoods. But then if you look at this SV Agri, they focus only on potatoes. Okay, so crop specific supply chains. It's all about aggregation at only one particular crop level. So for instance, this SV Agri, I believe they are based in Pune. They focus entirely on potatoes, and you can see their journey, how they have come through over the last 12 or 13 years. And what are the things that they do? They focus on providing good quality potato seeds to the farmers and integrating the entire supply chain just for potatoes. They provide consultation for the producers and also the processors, and also for storaging and any type of engineering solution. Maybe you can make chips with them, right? So there are various things that you can think of, and all of them are explained. And as you can see here, this startup, even though they are based in India, they have a global footprint. They are in many countries, as you can see here. So the only way how you can understand all these things is by going to those websites. That is the reason I essentially put together that link for you to take a look at that. INI farms that focus on pomegranate and banana, and organic herbs by this Carmel Organics. And there are some other startups that focus exclusively on input retail, how they can provide that inputs that are needed for the farmers. Okay, this company, DHeart, I think I pronounced it right. This company is one of the famous companies, it seems. As you can see here, there are few people, and this is the team that they have put together, and they have been getting a lot of funding from various resources, and they are getting a lot of coverage as well from various different people. And if you click on the solutions, they talk about solution for farmers, micro entrepreneur, and solution for institutional buyers. So they deal with small retailers as well as really big institutional buyers, okay? So they are talking about what are all the things that they are doing, and they are bringing in technology, artificial learning, artificial intelligence, machine learning. All these things are being brought into how the farmers are connected to the input supplies, as well as how the output is taken out of the farm, and how you can provide everything else, okay? So that is something for you to think about as well. Now, where did I find all these company names? I just did a lot of Google search, and I especially this particular website called agfundernews.com. That is where I was able to find many of these company names that I was able to put together for this presentation. Okay, so any questions before we move on? I know it may be a little difficult for you to ask questions. Please feel free to let me know any feedback if you have any questions. I'm just watching WhatsApp from Dr. Rajkumar because it's a real nice way for me to keep in touch with all my friends as well as for this presentation. So having said that, I will wait for the questions or we will address them later. One of the important things.
Sir?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sir, there is a question from student side, sir.
Okay.
First question is, what is the need for controlled environment agriculture?
What is the need?
For controlled agriculture.
What is the need? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, that's a good question. I will tell you this one. Now, if you go into the field, okay, if you think about the production of horticultural crops in a field settings, you are affected by the rains. You are affected by the rain, sunshine. You are also affected by winds, and quite a few things are happening. Whereas when you are kind of growing it indoors, okay, there are some examples that are coming up later. And when you are able to bring everything indoors and you are able to grow them in a controlled environment like a greenhouse, or there is another technique called hoop house, you are able to control the humidity inside the place, you can control the temperature, you can control the insects, and you can spray them in a very close manner. And also many of you may be familiar with these drones that can be used, okay, indoors. Okay, now in addition to all these things, there is another technique called vertical farming. I believe there is one speaker today, actually maybe the third speaker for the day today, will be talking about vertical farming. Vertical farming is like you are having a multi-story building, let's say 3 or 4 floors in a building. So in the ground floor, first floor, and second floor, you are going to grow the crops on a vertical basis, okay, like in the first floor, second floor, and third floor. And that way you are able to get 3 or 4 times the space instead of just growing it only outside on the fields, okay? So that type of opportunities are present over there. Now, vertical farming is really huge, and I will probably show you a couple of pictures and examples when it comes to that, okay? Did it answer the question for the student? Can you please confirm that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I will surely address that in another slide, okay? Now, another theme, yeah, thank you. One another theme that I see when it comes to horticultural startups or agricultural startups is this, sustainability. Now, sustainability essentially refers to, we are able to do something today. Can we do this, say, 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, okay? Now, sustainability, people often talk in terms of the 3 P's of sustainability. What are they? First, we need to make profits. Economic profits are very important. And the second thing is we need to make the planet also better while we make the profits happen, okay? So what do I mean by planet being better? That is how you can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. If you are using fertilizers, those fertilizers came from petroleum products. Those petroleum products were taken out of the ground, that means, and they were being processed. While they are being processed, we use energy. That energy essentially releases a lot of greenhouse gases. That is what we call the carbon emissions that are happening. Now, when you are growing trees, when you are able to grow, different type of agricultural produce, you are growing those crops, or you are able to produce that biomass by capturing the carbon in the atmosphere. Okay, that is what we call carbon sequestration. So you are capturing that carbon and putting it into a biomass form, like a stem or the tree or the root or something like that. Now, when you capture carbon, you are providing an environmental benefit for the market, right? For the whole of the world, not just your community, not just your village, not just the country, but the whole world. So you may be able to get some money for these carbon credits that you generate, okay? It is just like buying and selling a stock. The only thing is it is not a stock per se, but it's a carbon credit. You provided a benefit and we capture, we kind of give you a certificate saying this is the amount of carbon you captured, and you will be able to come and sell it to maybe a power utility company that is in need of buying these kind of carbon credits, okay? This is not happening yet. There have been various experiments that were happening, but then there is an opportunity for the carbon markets to evolve in the future, maybe in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, we don't know. And when it comes to that, you will be able to, get money for the services that you provide for the planet. So that is something that you should think of. In fact, this company Terraformation, their objective is actually to plant trees so that they can create these carbon credits and make money off of that, okay? So there is an interesting opportunity while you save the earth, okay? Hey, we are all superheroes, right? We can save the earth, at the same time we make profits as well. So that is one thing. And also, now these are the first two P's. There is a third P, that is the people. How are we going to help the people that are in the society, that are in the country, that are in your village, that are in your community? You have to think about them. So economic profits, while you make profits, you save the planet and you serve the people. So these are the three P's, and many of these startups talk about these three P's. Okay, you might have already seen in that video clip that I showed you earlier, they wanted to improve the livelihood of the farmers. Okay, so these are all some important things that you have to keep in mind. Having said that, let's move on to some other things. Now, this is where a lot of interesting things are happening. The engineers are entering agriculture in a real big manner through the technology, okay? Precision ag, that is, you are using tractors that will apply different amount of fertilizers in different parts of the field, okay? So that is what people are trying to do. So these startups are actually generating software so that they can be sold and put in different types of tractors that they can be used for applying different amount of fertilizers in different parts of the fields. And they are also using very advanced, techniques so that they can improve the production consistency that you can see here. And also vertical farms. Somebody asked about vertical farms are controlled environment farming. That is exactly what vertical farms are. When you are controlling, you can actually control the light, what's it called? The frequency of the wavelength of the light. You can put different colored bulbs, and that way you will be able to increase the production within your facility. Okay, so this is a good place for me to go to this Aero Farms, which is a very famous company that I have been following for a while. This is vertical farming. This is controlled environment agriculture. And if you go and take a look at that, they are able to produce everything in a very controlled environment. And I believe there should be a picture that you can see here. This is the picture that I wanted to show you. This is essentially a controlled environment where they are growing layers and layers of crops and mostly green vegetables. Okay, they are not producing tomatoes. They are not producing other type of fruits, because fruit production takes a little longer time, I believe. I'm not an expert in horticulture, so I don't know how long exactly it happens. But the green leafy vegetables can be produced indoors in this kind of a controlled environment. Now, you can see that they are using white lights, but I have seen various types of other businesses or other startups. They are controlling the different type of lights that they use so that they can increase the productivity, and they are able to grow them in a much quicker manner, okay? That is one thing. Now, this is also a good place for me to show you another company called Freight Farms. Freight Farms, Aero Farms, they are not in India. I believe they are only in the US. And Freight Farms is another example of how you can produce them, or how you can produce these products in a container, shipping container. Okay, so the shipping containers are used to transport the products all the way from say China or India to US, or from US to Europe and other places. Now you can also use these containers to grow crops on the walls. You see this one? So this is vertical. So you are growing them vertically, and there are lots and lots of plastic tubes behind them. The water is flowing through them, and the water feeds these vegetable crops, these leafy vegetables, and you are able to produce them. And this is controlled environment. This is an example. And this is a nice picture that you can see here, because this picture essentially shows you how you can control even the light frequency by changing the colors. Now this, you cannot do that in an outdoor field. You have to do that only in an indoor space, and that too in a smaller indoor spaces, not necessarily in a real big places. That is why you are able to see these type of controlled production that you are able to accomplish under these kind of situations. Okay, so that is again a technology type of things. And I came across this company called Sql Innovations. They are developing mechanical tools for harvesting apples and mangoes. So let's go ahead and click on that. And it kind of shows, what type of products they are able to produce. And if you look at it closely, if you click on the product portfolio, they tell you what are the type of products that they can bring to the market. They are providing harvesting solutions and pre-harvesting solutions, how you can prepare the tree before you go ahead and harvest. Low-cost grading solutions. Now you produce these mangoes. You don't want to sell everything at the same price. If some of them are very high quality, maybe you should be able to make a good price for that product. You should be able to get a good price. And how are you going to do that? You can do it manually. Now, in case if you can use the machine vision, this is where the technology comes in. The machine looks at the color and then says, this is a high quality product. So it pushes it to the left. If it is a low quality product, it will push it to the right. And now immediately everything is sorted out, and you can sell the high quality product where the customers are willing to pay a higher price. So you can do that. And also automation. You can use robots as part of your operations, okay? Because probably it's cheaper. Now, labor is not a big issue in a country like India, whereas in a country like US, automation is a real big issue. And this kind of automation, the product is being developed in India. It is Sql.in, a company in India, but they are selling their products to foreign countries like that of Israel, and I'm sure in the US and other places as well, okay? So there are lots and lots of different people that are into these kind of high technology companies. So I encourage students to go ahead and click on all these different type of things. We just talked about grading. So there are some special startups that focus entirely on inspecting the produce and grading them through apps, such as, here is an example of Agri CX. Drying and dehydration, which is a type of post-harvest processing. There is a company called S4S Technologies, Science for Society Technologies. Cold storage. Now, many of the products that we produce in horticulture are perishable. So we need to make sure that we store them properly and we provide them to the customer in the right temperature. So cold storage becomes important. And cold storage also can make it very expensive. So this EcoZen solutions are kind of, aggregating the produce. And that way, when you handle huge quantities, your cost of cooling is much lesser for one bunch of leaves that you are dealing with, amaranthus or something like that. So they are working on it. So when you are cold storing, you also have to move it, cold logistics. That is what this company is focusing on. So as you can see here, there are lots and lots of technologies that are involved. So that is a very important thing that you have to keep in mind as well, okay? Now remember that we already saw this aeroforms as part of vertical farming, which is a type of indoor farming or controlled environment agriculture. We saw example of this shipping container farming, aquaponics in shipping containers. There is a company called microfarms.co, seed quality improvement. These are all some novel things. So if you click on the seedx.com, it takes you to this website, seed-x.com. And I especially like the aspect that they are focusing on individual seed level. Because if you're going to be planting a mango orchard, okay, you need to make sure that you use only the high quality mango seedlings, and you don't want to be using, and you may be just buying the seedlings and you don't know the quality of the seed per se. And they are using artificial intelligence. You can see AI powered seed level phenotyping. So you may be an expert in that, or maybe that is some area that you may want to focus on so that you can become good at that. And you can see here that there are high-tech technology tools that they are using to sort. And also, this is the particular thing that I am trying to tell. They are getting the seed that you can see here in this animation. They are analyzing it. They are understanding whether this seed will grow into a good tree down the road, good crop down the road. And only the good ones are taken to the market and it is being sent out for the customer's use, or in this case, the farmer's use. So you really, there's a lot of thought that is being put into all these different types of, startups that are happening. And this is my favorite, okay? Plant-based meat alternatives. This is a very wonderful thing. You know that 30% of the Indian population is actually okay, there was a question. I was just reading through that. Sorry, I'll get to that soon. So 30% of the Indian population is vegetarian, okay? They don't eat meat. Now, horticulture has a wonderful opportunity to produce various substitutes that taste like meat, but that is made out of horticultural products. For instance, it could be like jackfruit, okay? That's one of my favorite foods. Now, these kind of horticultural products, okay, they can be processed and they can be made to taste very good, and you will be able to create a very new product and take it to the customer. So in case if you have a real good skill to learn how to process these things, not just in the form of post-harvest processing, but also convert that into a high-value product. And here you can see here, this is a plant-based vegan. Vegan means it's full and full plant-based keema, which is an alternative to mutton, okay? And you can see very mouth-watering dishes. And they talk about cruelty-free. That is, you are not killing any animals, but still you are getting a very tasty product. It is affordable. That is, you are able to produce it, and you are even able to compete with meat. In the US, I have seen a lot of examples for this. So this is something that you can think of. It is tasty. In fact, I like the plant-based meats more than the actual meat itself, okay? Because it's unique. It's neither plant nor animal or nor meat. It's somewhere in the middle. And I like that type of consistency, the texture, the taste, and it's heavily processed. So just be aware of that. And it is healthy and high in protein. So you can change the amount of protein content, and protein is a real big deal when it comes to healthy eating, right? So you will be able to do all those things, and it's environmentally friendly. That is, you did not produce animals. Now, animals are known to emit a lot of carbon emissions because they tend to emit methane when they actually pass gas, okay? So there are lots and lots of things about that. And here is question from somebody. Since you talked about carbon sequestration, I have a doubt or kind of suggestion. Our farmers are much not concerned about C/N ratio and more worried about nitrogen input rather than C input. So what's the practice in overseas to improve the carbon input to the crops? Well, that's a really good question. Okay, it's a very technical question because I'm not an agronomist or production scientist or anything like that. I am more into business. Now, I have seen, okay, in the fields where I have worked with a lot of organic farmers and I have looked into their production practices. When I look into it, they use a lot of compost and manure. Okay, they use it, but whether a conventional farmer use the same amount of compost and manure? Not necessarily. They just go for NPK fertilizers. They don't focus on carbon as much. So, these kind of regenerative agriculture, that is a very common term that you will come across. So in case, if you are able to find a startup where you are not only producing, high quality products, not only connecting the farmers with customers, but also you are taking care of the soil, okay? You want to protect the soil health. Maybe that is your theme. Whoever asked that question can think of a business, can think of a new idea that they can use so that they can use that as a way to generate value for the society. And that is your startup idea. Hey, that is your idea. You see that? So this is how the ideas get started. Okay, what can you do to make something very unique and different? Okay. So coming back to our plant-based meat alternatives, this Karana, I believe this is a Singapore company, but they are selling all across the world, I believe, and they have whole plant, all taste products as well. Now, another company in the US, it's called Beyond Meat. So you can just go ahead and type it in Google. Google is my favorite search engine. So when you go there, Beyond Meat, you can go ahead and take a look at that. They all look like non-vegetarian products, but they are all vegetarian, okay? And people who eat them cannot tell the difference. And these companies, they recently, entered production, and they have been a big hit. And you can see here, these are all looking like meat, but they are all plant-based. And after Beyond Meat, there is something called Impossible Burger. And that is another company that you may be able to read upon them. Okay, so the best way for you to educate yourself is by reading about the company. And where can you read? You can read about them on these different types of websites. Otherwise, you can go ahead and do various types of things. Okay, so having said that, there are other types of things. We already talked about logistics here. There is delivery, traceability. We have talked about it. And there is another type of businesses in India that I have seen. They are having a regional scope. That is, they are based in Sikkim or Northeast India. Okay, they source only from there, or they source only from Himalayas and able to, bring it to the market. And organic and branded products, farmland trust, rooftop gardens. I believe one of the speakers today will be talking about that, which is essentially a type of vertical garden as well. Rooftop, you can grow vertically to save space and produce more. Now, land is in short supply, right? So we really have to think of how to move forward with that. And there are also some other interesting opportunities that is at a very micro level. Okay, one farmer produces the product just for themselves. So they produce the greens, highly nutritious protein greens for their dairy cattle feed. So there are some interesting opportunities, and each and every one of these links that are blue in color, you can click on them and it will take you to a website. Okay. Now remember that it is not just the startups that they are functioning on their own. In case if you have an idea, even if it is not a very high-tech idea, you will be able to convert that idea into a business with various type of support services. And that is what I have given here. This is a National Horticulture Board.gov.in. They have various schemes and programs. So I encourage you to go and take a look at that. I did not spend much time looking into this website, but that is something of interest to you. If you have never gone there, this is something that you may want to take a look at that. Okay, and also this inc42.com. Here also there are lots of interesting startup stories available for you to take a look at that. I encourage you guys to go and take a look at that, because the more you read, you become a lot more knowledgeable. And that's exactly what I want for you. D2C, direct to the customer, okay, D2C economy. And this is where lots and lots of examples are happening, lots and lots of startups are happening in horticulture, okay? So how are we doing on time? I believe I started about 40 minutes ago. I hope there is enough time. Okay, so any questions from anybody in the audience? Okay, there is somebody is asking, what's the motive for converting fruits and vegetables to meat and eat? instead of eating them as fresh? That's a real good question. Sajeev wrote it, and I don't know whether it is Sajiv's question or somebody else. That's the point. There are, it is value addition, okay? You will be able to add value in various ways. And if you are able to add value, then that is what the businesses do, okay? Now, many people are very conscious about what type of foods that they eat. Many non-vegetarian people, they want the same meat taste, but they are unable to get it by eating only, chickpeas or some other protein items that we normally, the vegetarians, eat. So they want that consistency, they want that taste, and how can they get it? By all these different ingredients. And these are all the ingredients that comes from horticulture and agriculture that you can see here. You guys notice that? So that is where all these things are important. So as you can see here, you can use soybeans, okay, which gives you protein, but then there is flavor. Heme, that is, I believe, the red color thing that gives that flavor and the color and the composition. And also it has to be proteinaceous. I mean, it has to have the fat, the taste comes from fat, and that comes from coconut and sunflower. I believe that is still agriculture, if not horticulture per se. And then, various types of high-tech items that are being used to bind all of them together. So these are all the things, and by making all these things, you can sell this for a very high price. That's the point. It is all about value addition that you will be able to accomplish, okay? If you're a business person, you have to create new value. Now, if I eat the same thing over and over again, I am from Tamil Nadu, right? I eat idli. Now, I can eat idli for 10 days. For 20 days, I can do it. But the 30th day, I will be like, can we eat something else other than idli, right? That's what I think. So people are craving for new varieties. And that is where you can provide that novelty, okay? So by converting the fruits into a different type of product, by converting the vegetables into, and mixing and matching all these different things, by adding some other materials like soybeans and the protein and the binders and this and that, you will be able to convert that into a very high quality product or high value product, and you can sell it for a premium price. And that is what these companies are doing. Okay, and these are really more expensive than traditional meat, I will tell you that. But the main thing is, since you are growing them in labs, okay, you are able to control the pollution, okay? You all know how meat is being sold in India, right? It is sold on the street side corners, on the roadside, where it is highly, the buses are passing by, there's a lot of dirt and other things. But as a producer of lab-grown meat, you will be able to, make sure that the quality is really high by, you are able to control the quality, and you are able to provide them that is not contaminated with dirt and things like that. And also you are able to, safeguard animals in case if you care about animals and the quality of animals, the life that they live, that is something that you should, some people are interested in, and that's why we are converting, say, meat into, vegetables or fruits into a vegetable, into a meat product, okay? And Aarti is asking, how do you value retail customer? How to value a retail customer? This is where you have to do market research, okay? In fact, I have given some links, but then if you're an OSU, Ohio State University student, you will have access to those things, okay? So Mintel reports, I'm just going to type it in the chat box. And I'm also going to probably go and show that to you because that is a real good question. So if you go and type Mintel reports, you actually, Annamalai University may have access to it. You can go ahead and click on these various industry reports. If not Mintel, something else may be there. Maybe the Tata Marketing Institute or something like that, they may have come up with some report. So you go here and you click on, let us say what, we are interested in food items, food and food service, and which market, UK, US, China, Brazil, we are in India. So we are going to click on India and we click search, and immediately it brings a whole bunch of topics or issues that the customers would be very interested in knowing. Okay, Attitudes to functional food and drink, Indian consumer 2021. It's pretty expensive, okay, $2,500, and you multiply that by about 75 rupees per dollar, it's a lot of money, okay? So you don't expect to buy it for your own purpose. What you can do is you can go to libraries, okay? Sometimes the government libraries, sometimes the university libraries will have access to it. I take my students here to go ahead and take a look at, what they are talking about. And it is not just, that and dairy drinks, including plant-based milk. Again, people are all thinking in terms of, how we can create alternative substitutes for milk. Instead of dairy milk, what else can we produce? Almond milk. Almonds are essentially a horticultural product, right? So there are lots and lots of opportunities, and why the customers are wanting it, you can go ahead and read about them in these kind of reports, okay? I know some of my friends that are working in preparing the data for these type of reports, and I can put you in touch with, in case if you are interested in prepared soup in India. Wow, even that is there, so there is a report just for that. Soups in India, desserts. How many of you have sweet tooth? I like to eat sweets, and that's why my weight is going up, I guess. The point is, there are all these reports available for you, cheese and paneer. Instant noodles, wow, that's another favorite. Anyways, the point here is, there are lots and lots of these reports and other things that are available for you that you can take advantage of. Okay, now I am only at slide 11. I put 33, okay? I'm only one third of the way through. So I don't know how much time I have. So I'm just going to rush through the rest of the material. So if you have any questions or you want to stop me, please let me know. Okay, somebody says, I'm happy for the presentation. Could you please elaborate on nutrient-enriched products in the food industry? How far is the demand? You will have to come and attend my class. I can send you the Zoom link if you want. There are lots of value, okay? That's where you really have to see the industry. You have to know where the value is. You have to look at, jackfruit. You have to look at, I'm sure there are a bunch of, jackfruit products that have come up, and they can also mix jackfruit with others. Again, I'm just keeping talking about jackfruit, but there are other products that you can process as well. And maybe, being in South India, being in Tamil Nadu, you may have access to some other type of material that you can create very unique taste, very unique flavor. And you can bring in some extra protein into it and make it more nutritious, and you can sell it to customers. So this is where you have to take a marketing course, and in marketing, you will be talking about these type of topics, okay? What is the potential and how you can go. And otherwise, actually, there are some other places, for instance, for that particular question, food science and technology, like that, we have a department in Ohio State University. Now, if you go to this website and you go through, what the faculty members here are doing, you will get a good idea of, what is the value for these type of nutrient-enriched foods. So hopefully that answered Pamela Mangalraj question there, okay? So hopefully that kind of gave you some idea there. So anyway, so you have listened to all these things so far, okay? How can you improve your skills from this presentation? How can you benefit from it? This is my first suggestion. First of all, many of you are interested in horticulture. Now, in addition to horticulture, please spend some time developing your expertise in another area. Now, that other area could be some kind of computer coding or biotechnology or machines and engineering, or business itself, or marketing, okay? Because when you combine two different areas, that is when you will be able to identify unique ways of, creating value for the customers. Develop your idea, okay, whether it is a product or a service, test it, and collaborate and put together that team. That's very important. And also you have to develop a proof of concept. All these startups, okay, they are getting millions of dollars, okay, crores and crores of rupees, primarily because they developed a prototype and they proved that the customers want it. The farmers are willing to download this app and use it for making production decisions, okay? So here I have given a link for you. I encourage you to go and click on that. This is in Harvard Business Review. And here they talk about how you can start a new company in a very lean manner that is not spending too much money. And this lean thinking that is starting with very limited amount of money by taking customer feedback is exclusively important. That is what they are talking about. And here is a nice model that, you know, I may be able to talk about at the end. And here, as you can see here in this picture, it is all about creating a viable product, okay? You come up with an idea, you work through that, you create a viable product, you get customer feedback on the product, you improve it again take it to the customer, get feedback, and you create it again and you take it out, okay? So this type of circular thinking has to happen if you want to be successful as a startup entrepreneur, as a person who starts this business. Now also read and browse through a lot of projects, because that's what I did when Dr. Rajkumar asked about that. Now, crowdfunding websites, okay, there are lots of other things that you can go and take a look. This company, Future Acres, okay, this was listed in a company, in another company called seedinvest.com. And I'm not going to show this entire video clip, but it kind of shows you the type of automation and other things that are happening in the US, okay? And the point here is they are using advanced technologies when it comes to harvesting grapes and things like that, okay? And so this is a startup entrepreneur, and she has essentially come up with a way of harvesting the grapes, and labor shortage is a real big reason why. That's why they are using these automated things. This is happening. Now, this company, I mainly went here because I wanted to show you some companies such as Seed Invest. If you go here and you click on Browse Startups, they give you a lot of information on you know, what are the companies that you can think of and how they are trying to create value for the customers, okay? Somebody asked, what is the value of adding nutrition to the product? So here is something, plant-based functional beverage, retailing nationally. When you click on this company, now this is in the US, not necessarily in India, there is a video clip and there is a lot of information on, you know, what they are trying to do, why this company will be successful down the road, how they are able to get traction. So there is a lot of information that is given for you, and reading through this will really help you improve your knowledge, okay? So that is the major thing that I want to emphasize. So the students that are in the audience, please take a look at that. And even I have created assignments in my classes, so students will go and take a look at some of these things and come up with, oh, you know what, this is what this company is trying to do, and this is how they will be successful down the road. So there are, you know, interesting ways how you can create value as well. Now, remember that there are risks. Not every startup will be successful. There are lots of competitors that are trying to do the same thing. So only a few will be successful, many of them will fail, okay? But then that should not discourage you. You should be bold. And when you are young, okay, that is the time for you to be bold and take action and start these kind of things, you know, because that's when you will learn more. And here comes one of my favorite Tirukural, Kana Muyalaida Ambinil Yane Pulaita Velendal Inite, that essentially says, hey, you know what, it is more pleasant to hold the dart that has missed an elephant than that which has hit hare in the forest. That is, rather than killing a small rabbit, it's better that we go and hunt an elephant, okay? I'm not saying we should go and hunt an elephant. What I'm saying here is we should aim big, okay? Aim high, surely you will come across some interesting things. So having said that, any content in the chat, there are no other questions. Okay, so anyways, as I told you, the OSU libraries, that is our university libraries, have access to various companies that are funded by venture capital and angel funding. Okay, you can click on these links and do internet search, read about the company. And there are some websites, crunchbase.com. Go there and type India horticulture. You will see a lot of companies, all the examples that I talked about. or agfunder.com. It's one of my favorite websites here, where you can learn what is happening in the agriculture and horticulture areas in the context of US and all those things. So anyways, if you ask me where the value is, I will say in the context of India, personally for me, I want to make sure that my family eats products that doesn't have any harmful chemicals. There are no pesticide residues. So that is what I mean by quality. So if you can provide that, hey, I am your customer, I will buy it from you. Not only that, and if I know that my money that I am spending on the product is actually reaching the farmers in a very reliable manner. Okay, some of you may have heard of fair trade coffee, FAIR, fair trade coffee. That means it's all about giving more money to the customers. So if you can create a social impact, it will really capture customers' attention and they will want to buy from you. And also new food products, okay, how you can create meat alternatives from horticultural produce. And then technology is always there, okay? We don't even have to put, because everything is online, everything is mobile-based, and the machine learning and artificial intelligence have taken over, okay? So anyways, do we have time? I know that I have been running through all this content, and I hope I did not lose anybody in the audience. And it's night 1:30 for me, and I'm pretty excited right now. I hope I can go and sleep after this. I'm sorry for the lighting. Unfortunately, during the daytime, the lighting was good, but night I'm sitting under these lights and it's a little dark. It's not bright enough. Any questions for me? Do we have a time, or we should wrap up right now? Raj, in case if you're on face.
Sorry,
Yeah, go ahead, please. Do you hear me?
There are no questions, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Dr. Arumugam Shakila says, excellent and very informative session. Thank you. So how much more time do I have? Can somebody confirm that so that I can make sure that I don't go over?
I request Dr. P. Madanakumari, Organizing Secretary, Department of Horticulture, to thank the speaker. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Subbu Kumarappan, for your valuable time and giving us a visionary knowledge about value creations. From your lecture, we gained a lot of information about starting a business, and also thank you for clearing our students' inquiries. Once again, thank you, sir, for your deliberation in your odd time, that is midnight, I think, for spending us. And I'm proud that you're alumnus of Annamala University. Thank you again, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to mention a few quick things, for the students. In the same PowerPoint presentation, if you go to the bottom of that presentation, there are lots of other things that I wanted to touch upon, especially slides 24 through 31. Okay, they are very useful. And I have given the links, so I encourage you to go ahead and click on that and watch through those kind of things, because it tells you how you can start a business, how you can develop your idea into a successful business over time. Okay, and it essentially talks about 9 different blocks that you have to think of, and this is called the business model canvas. Let me go ahead and type it up in the chat box. Go to that website. They have a short 2-minute video clip. I encourage you to watch it because that's a real wonderful way. In fact, quite a few startups are using it to create a minimum viable product and convert that into more successful business opportunities in their, as part of their business. So that is what I mainly wanted to mention. And as usual, instead of 15 slides, I put together 33, so I could not cover all of it. Anyways, I hope you learned something new. Thank you very much. I really happy that I was able to talk to you. Nandri, vanakkam, and thankfully, I will be in touch with Dr. Rajkumar on WhatsApp and with all my friends on the Agri group. Okay. Thank you very much now. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye.
May I now request Dr. Uma Mageshwari, Co-Organizing Secretary, Department of Horticulture, to introduce our next speaker. Please, ma'am.
Very good morning to all. I'd like to introduce the next speaker for this session, Entrepreneurial Opportunities in Horticulture, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Professor and Head, Department of Fruit Science, College of Horticulture and Forestry, Jhalawar. Dr. Singh is associated with teaching the courses pertaining to horticulture for the last 25 years. In his service tenure, he was worked on various aspects of orchard management, some 75 papers in NAS-rated scientific journals, 8 books, 14 book chapters, 1 policy document, 12 manuals, research, extension bulletin, covering various aspects of horticulture have been contributed by Dr. Singh towards literally support to the broad domain of horticulture. Dr. Singh successfully guided 22 students leading to PG and PhD degree in horticulture. He has supported successful organization of 5 trainings towards dissemination of horticultural technology, besides 3 seminar and symposia and 1 ICR sanctioned winter school. He received Prithvi Mitra Puraskar by Earth Matters Foundation, New Delhi in the year 2008. Upkar Foundation Award of Excellence by Chairman Organizing Committee for successful organization of the National Seminar as Organizing Secretary on Precision Farming in Horticulture in the year 2010. Got Yogiyata Puraskar and Certificate of Appreciation in the year 2012 by Honorable Vice Chancellor MPUAT Udaipur for outstanding contribution in university services. Dr. Singh received Dr. Rajendra Prasad Award by ICR New Delhi in the year 2017. He was conferred Best Teacher Award by Indian Society of Horticulture Research and Development, Uttarakhand, Dehradun in the year 2019. The book entitled Basic Horticulture, written by Dr. Singh, is the Bible for all our students of Annamalai University. He always remains devoted to all development of horticulture. With this introduction, let me invite Professor Singh to deliver his lecture. Thank you.
Me, my voice clear, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Are you able to hear me?
Audible, sir.
Hello. Hello. Whether I am audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Respected Dr. K. Haripriya Sahab, Dr. S. Haribudai Nambi Sahab, Dr. R. Kanda Swami Ji, M. Ganpati Sahab, Sendhil Nathan Sahab, Dr. Maheshwari Madam, Raj Kumar Ji, T.R. Bharat Kumar Ji, distinguished guest and speaker Dr. Sabu Kumar Appan, Dr. G. Prakash Ji, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I feel it my proud privilege for having given me opportunity by Annamalai University to interact with young guys, especially in the field of startups. Now, I shall be sharing my views on the strength of the horticulture, which has potential for tapping for startup professions. So if you do see the strength slide, please. Mr. Mr. Rajkumarji, please have slides here.
Yes, sir. You're working on that.
So this slide, what I am intended to be shown, Indian horticulture. The heading is Indian horticulture. Next, please.
Yes, sir.
Next slide, please.
Next slide, please.
Next. You directly come to Indian horticulture. Next.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yes. So if you do see the strength of the Indian horticulture, the horticulture shares 30% of previous one. This is production of horticulture, previous. Yes. If you do see, horticulture accounts for 30% of the GDP, though 13% area is under horticulture. If you do sum up area under fruits, vegetables, horticulture, spices and all those things, it hardly exceeds 15%. Even though it shares 30% of total GDP from agriculture, and the agricultural commodity exports out of total exports, 37% is shared by the horticulture alone, and the country, our India, shares 13.6% of the total global food productions and 14% of the vegetable productions, and horticulture shares for more than 33% of the agriculture productions. This year also, you might have gone through the fact that our horticulture productions is over and above 3 million tons. Of course, the grain production is 5-10 million. There are a lot of scope to improve upon. Next slide. If you do see, next slide, please. This is productions I have already covered that during 2021, the horticulture production was of the order of 326 million tons and food grain of the order of 305 million tons. So this is nothing. This is regarding a glorious potential of horticulture sector. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. If you do so, why farmers are intact with the agriculture or horticulture, this slide shows simply during 97, the potato price per kg was 25 paisa. And now it is more than 10 rupees a kg. So there had been increase in price in comparison to independence era, 200 times, 500 times, and even more than 1,000 times. So this is that only in ghee, in flour, in pulses, rice, milk, banana, tea, cold drinks, ice cream, gold. You can just imagine that there has been price escalation as compared to 1947 era, even though it is a matter of retrospections that our young guys are getting detracted from the farming practices. Definitely, we have to attempt to make the agriculture and horticulture more and more profitable, economically profitable. Subbu Kumaran Sahab has already thrown a lot of stress in this regard. Then next slide, please. The startup may be there in this regard also. If you do see the productivity of Indian horticultural crops and world crops, in apple, our production is worth transformation to 5.56 times. In banana, almost 2 times. In guava and mango, 6.1 times. In pineapple, it is 7.88 or almost 8 times. In brinjal, 3.9 times. And in onion, 3.39 times. So these are the some examples of the crop in which our productivity can be transformed this much higher sides in comparison to the average times. There are students in some localities, what they offer to the farmers, they say that you grow a particular kind of crop, for example, grape, and we the experts shall be providing all kind of inputs for successful productions, and the guys charge some nominal fees for 1 hectare monitoring of the field. The farmer pays and the technical persons, the young technical guys support the services for bumper production of, for that matter, grape. In Maharashtra, such kind of things are there. In pomegranate, in Rajasthan, in Ganganagar area, in Kinno productions, the farmers deploy the services of young guys for better harvest of their produce. So these are the things which offers opportunity for new startups. There is a long blankness in these fields. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. If you do see the scenario of food production in India, it is the Maharashtra which has out of total cultivable area, 15% area under fruit productions. In Andhra, it is 12% only. In Gujarat, 9%. In Tamil Nadu, it is 8% of the total cultivable area under fruit productions. In UP, it is 8%. In Karnataka, 8%. In Madhya Pradesh, 6%. Telangana, 5%. Bihar, 5%. West Bengal, 3%. You can just imagine the states where the area under horticulture is lesser than 10%, the economy of the farmer is definitely poorer. So this is another kind of things young guys can take it challenge, that how to increase the area under fruit crops. Still there are even lesser than percent area under fruit crops. You will know, being students of agriculture or horticulture, you well know that horticultural crops or fruit crops, being especially the woody perennial crops, are very much resilient to climate change. They are very much drought tolerant. They are very much stress tolerant. They are tolerant to higher temperature. They are tolerant to even your cyclone, floods, etc. Even though 90% and more acreage in are under the vulnerable crops. We have to bring a shift in this kind of farming traditions. Next slide, please. Next. Likewise, in vegetable production scenario, if you can see, it is the West Bengal where the acreage is around 15% under vegetable cultivations of the total area. And in majority of the states, in Tamil Nadu, it is 5.3% area under vegetable productions. In the Andhra Pradesh, it is 5%. In Karnataka, it is 4.6%. Data is little bit older, 1.5 year older, but the scenario has not been changed so much. If you do take into account the database of the National Horticulture Board, you will hardly find less than 10% of area, total cultivable area under vegetable productions in majority of these states. So this is the scenario of vegetable production in the country. And you all know, in the city like Chennai, in many other cities, what is the price of the vegetables? Of course, there is a need to increase more acreage, diversifying agriculture farming towards fruits, vegetable, floriculture, because these are remunerative crops. And at the same time, we have to think for the market chain management, value additions. Our earlier speaker has spoken very well. Value addition, how you can add value. From your side, anyone from your side want to convey something?
Sir, continue, sir. Please continue, sir.
Hello.
Sir, please continue, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. So I am quoting one very simple example of value additions. You might have in many foreign countries, Dr. Kumar, sold in a proper packaging, but is their price? If you do compare the strawberry produce harvested from the field and sold along the roadside, the price is different. And if the same strawberry, your value addition of the field of packaging, in the field of procurement. Next slide. Next slide, please. Hello. Yeah. This is cultivation scenario in India. Spices. Earlier slide, please. Earlier slide. So this is a post already. You can range of produce. There are range of produce. I am speaking, sir. I am speaking. Sometimes internet connectivity gets. Okay, okay. Next slide, please. Next, please. Post harvest. Next word to the post harvest management. So you can see the food processing status. The country like Malaysia processes food of the order as higher as 80%, and our country like India processes food even less than 2%. So you can see what is where our produce, there is no chance of getting feared. Malaysia is consuming 80%, utilizing 80% produce for processing. Even then their produce is being sold in the market, and our country is processing less than 2% of the total produce. Then where is the fear of that there shall be glut of the processing products? If you do prepare a product of quality, I think there is a lot of scope of turning food processing sectors into global entrepreneurship. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. If you can see, this is the status of malnutrition pervasive in India, especially in country like Jharkhand, in a state like Jharkhand, there is a problem of wasting in children, and 29% of the children of less than 5 years age are affected by the problem of wasting. So what is the problem of wasting? Wasting problem means improper weight and height of the children in comparison to their age. Suppose a children of 5-year age should have 30 kg weight, and if the children is of 10 kg weight, 15 kg weight, then that children is suffering from wasting problem. So this is the scenario of malnutrition that can be avoided by adding value in the food. Simply value additions, food fortification. So there is a demand of the food fortified produce in the market. Then next slide, please. Next slide, please. You can see the world scenario of hunger and malnutrition is still across the globe. 8,700 lakh people are not having sufficient food to eat. And of the total malnutrition population, 98% live in developing countries like India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Maldives, Pakistan, Afghanistan, etc. And of the total hunger population, 60% population is ladies only. You can see this is a big question. If ladies shall be suffering from hunger and other nutritional problems, then the inborn baby, then the generation shall be suffering lot of problems. So this is a big question, how to avoid this scenario. Out of every sixth child, one born of less weight of in developing countries. So again, here is a problem of wasting in children, and every sixth child is affected by wasting problems. And due to malnutrition, every year 26 lakh children die. So this is great loss to the earth planet, great loss to the humanity. And 50% sufferer of hungers are from farming community. There is a scope to work for the farming community, that how to make the farming of adding artificial. Next slide, please. You can see this is the figure of African country that a vulture is waiting for the last breath of the children, and you can see is suffering badly from the hunger and